You can now buy a great home in a great area of Oshawa or Clarington for under $650,000. Even Ajax, Pickering, and Whitby have had their fair share of great deals come up. Yet sales are down nearly 20% in Durham region compared to this time last year, and prices aren't looking great either. We can overanalyze and break down numbers forever and try to come up with a complicated answer for what's happening in our real estate market and why it's happening. The simple reality is that there's still a big gap between what many homeowners believe their homes are worth and what buyers are actually willing to pay. And it's hard to blame them because each month they can turn on the news or watch my market update and see that the market is continuing to inch down in value and more in their favor. I see a lot of people talking about the spring market and the potential for pent-up demand to bring some life and better conditions for sellers back to the market. But from my perspective and experiences, I believe that there is pent-up demand, but I think those people remain on the sidelines because they still don't see eye to eye with where home prices are at. Not because they're waiting for the spring to start paying more than what homes are selling for today. And that's just my opinion based on what I see right now and the conversations that Lisa and myself have been having recently. If you're new here, my name is Jessie McClellan, and I'm a realtor here in Durham region. In this video, we're going to look at the recent changes in the market, and I'm going to give you my honest opinion on what's happening right now, what's worth paying attention to, and what's really just overdramatic headlines. And at the end, we're going to look at a few areas and property types that have seen the biggest drops in prices, including one that really caught me off guard. If you'd like to stay up to date on everything happening across Durham region, then subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to speak with me about buying or selling a home here, or if you just have a question about the market, here's a link in the description to book a call directly with me. Looking at our market month over month, we're starting to see some real changes as we exit the fall market. New listings dropped 13%. That big fall market bump that we were waiting for brought us 8 extra sales in October compared to September. And our inventory levels have now started to drop off. As much as this table probably doesn't look good, this is normal at this time of year. November and December are typically very slow months in the real estate market, and October is usually when we see the first signs of things slowing down and what's to come. We'll see lots of listings terminate or expire and not relist right away. Most will probably wait until sometime in the new year. We're going to see the average days on market increase, and we're going to see inventory levels continue to decrease, most likely a very sharp drop in November. This means that some stats will start to get skewed a little bit because far less transactions are going to happen. Our months of inventory dropped from 4 to 3.6, but that's not a sign of a stronger market. It's mostly from sellers pulling their homes off after slower results. The average price decreased almost 3% from September to October. Average or median price is fine for tracking general trends, but if you really want to know what your home is worth, you need to dig into property-specific data. This can give you an idea of where the overall market is going, but you can't rely solely on this to make real estate decisions. Comparing the data month over month doesn't really show us the big picture of where the market is and where it's continuing to trend. This is where year over year can become very helpful. Last October, we had almost the same number of new listings come onto the market as we did this year, but we had a 19.5% drop off in sales. Now, in case you weren't following or don't remember, last October, there was a pretty big bump in sales from last September. We didn't get that bump this year, which is part of the reason why we have 15.5% more active listings than we had this time last year, even though we had a drop month over month. Our months of inventory shows this as well, as it now sits at 3.6 compared to 2.5 months last year. 2.5 months of inventory would technically be a seller's market by that stat alone, but ask anyone selling this time last year and they'll tell you that it did not feel remotely close to a seller's market. But that bump in sales did eat away at a large chunk of our active listings last year, which pushed the months of inventory down. Our sales to new listing ratio in October was just shy of 40%, indicating it's more of a buyer's market. Last year, that number was 50%, indicating more of a balanced market. As tough as it can be sometimes, regardless of whether you're buying your next home, buying your first home, or selling your home, it's important to factor in all of the information we have and not single out one statistic that will make for a better headline or might help support what you're hoping will happen. Last year, the average days on market at this time of the year was 23 days, and at that time, the market felt very slow. So sitting at 29 days already this year is just another stat that's confirming we've continued to trend towards a slower, more buyers-leaning market this year. The sale price to list price ratio dropped below 100%. All that really tells us is that less homes are listing low and successfully selling over asking. Last October, 33% of homes were selling above asking, and this year that number is about 22%. I know some of you are hearing that and thinking, what do you mean 22% of people are still paying above asking? But the list low and hold offer strategy is still being used, and honestly, on some properties, it does make sense, as much as some buyers may not want to hear that or may not agree with it. It's not like you're listing low and realistically going to have someone come in and pay way over recent sales and what market value is. It's more effective at helping the home sell faster than the current 29-day average. And just to give you some context, I was recently looking at a sale that listed low and sold over asking by $1,000. But when you look at very recent comparable sales, it actually sold under those by about $70,000. So although the buyer paid over asking, they got one of the best deals I have seen in this market so far. And of course, last but not least, our average price was down 4.1% year over year. But as I mentioned, looking at the average price of all homes in Durham region does not give you the full picture. So here's what it looks like if we break it down by some of the areas and property types that saw the biggest changes. Detached homes in Pickering saw a 13.5% drop year over year. Prices always bounce around, especially in Pickering. 1 month they're up big and then down the next. But to me, I feel like prices hovered in the same range until some point in the summer when the average price in Pickering really did start to slide. Condo apartments in Ajax dropped 22%, but this is based on an extremely small sample size. They are definitely down in value from 1 year ago, but I don't believe they're down 22%. I would say probably around the 10-15%. Semi-detached homes in Whitby dropped 14.8%, but similar to the Ajax condos, there's a very low sample size, so don't assume that every semi-detached home in Whitby is worth 15% less than it was a year ago. An interesting one is Ajax townhomes. These are non-condo properties, and they dropped 14.1% year over year. Again, I wouldn't blanket statement and assume that this has affected every townhome equally, but I know a lot of the people that I've helped look at properties for sale in Ajax tend to avoid townhomes because a lot of them are 3 stories and don't have a backyard. And at the prices that they were selling for, they could go for a more traditional 2-story townhome with a backyard or even some entry-level detached homes. In my opinion, it was only a matter of time before they came down because of what some of the other entry-level homes in Ajax were starting to sell for. Oshawa townhomes are down 12.7% too for the same reasons. Many are now 3-story layouts without backyards, and buyers at that price point can often stretch for detached with better layouts, so those townhome prices were bound to adjust. Pickering condo apartments are the ones that really surprised me because they have taken a large hit as well, down 17.7% year over year. But the drop in price alone isn't what caught me off guard. The average price of a condo apartment in Pickering is $489,500, which is only $5,000 more than the average price of one in Oshawa. And of course, out of curiosity, I had to look back and compare it to peak pricing, and here's what that looked like. At the peak of the market in February of 2022, Oshawa condos averaged $490,000 and Pickering condo apartments averaged $704,000. There's a lot going on there. Oshawa condo apartment values haven't changed much since the peak, but Pickering condos are now averaging around the same price as Oshawa's. And a lot of that has to do with Oshawa having built new condo apartment buildings near the college that brought bigger, slightly more expensive units to the market, helping keep the average price up. And also the fact that Toronto's condo market is going through a tough time. And I think a lot of buyers who may have considered moving to Pickering condos are now looking back at where Toronto condo prices are and saying, why don't I just buy in Toronto? Overall, the market feels slow, and that's likely to continue as we head towards the new year. It's not that people don't want to move and don't want to buy, it's that the numbers just aren't lining up right now. Many first-time buyers are waiting to see where prices go, and a lot of sellers are trying to figure out whether they can even get an offer that lets them move on without it becoming a financial hardship. The tough part for sellers is that you can do everything right. You can prep the home, you can stage it beautifully, you can get great photos, you can price it perfectly, and then 3 days later, someone 2 streets over sells $70,000 below recent sales because they had to. Now that's your new comparable. That's what every buyer coming through your home is looking at. For buyers, especially first-time buyers, This is a market where patience pays off, but so do preparation and communication. Make sure you and your agent are completely aligned on your goals and expectations. Some homes are still going to move quickly when they're priced right, and others are sitting and reducing slowly over time. The key is communication between you and your agent, and between your agent and the listing side, so you don't wake up one morning and find out that the right home sold while you were waiting. If you'd like to see me break down actual sales in areas of Durham region, put a comment below saying a price range and the city or area you'd like to see, because those videos are coming next. Subscribe to the channel to see more videos like this, and remember, you can always book a call with me using the link in the description to get your questions answered about our market. Thanks for watching until the end. I hope you found this video helpful, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.